Hi, this is Martin Drummond with Progressive News. It's Saturday, October 19th, 2019. This is a special message to the Russians about Syria. Look, guys, you know, we all know what's going on in Syria. As complicated as it is, you know, people like us, we know what's going on in Syria. You know what's going on in Syria. And I'm calling upon the Russian people and their leaders to join the Turks and arrange for a transition of from dictatorship, because we all know that, you know, the beast Bashar is just a dictator from ancient times. I mean, Syria has a history of dictatorship going back farther than just about anybody on the planet, and they're proud of it. And in Latakia, the Alawites are proud of it, and they're carrying it on since 1963 or something in Hafez al-Assad and now his son. And it's time to put an end to it. So, you know, the only way we can do that is if the Russians, the Turks, and the United States come together on this. And I'm calling upon the United States to stop this insane, you know, endless war over, you know, where we fight for Conoco. All this oil right here, we're fighting for Conoco. I mean, that's what this is about. That's why we back the Kurds. Because IS, you know, came in here and took these oil rigs, and we had to take them back, and we didn't want to risk American troops, because it would be unseemly for American troops to be protecting Conoco, because American, you know, like Bush and all these oil people, they're upset because our oil is underneath their ground, you know. Okay, so I get it, you know. So what do we have to do here? We have to protect everybody's interests, and you know, I suggest that the United States, as part of the deal, cut in the Iraqi people, you know, and that's Kurds too. They're a minority. They were a small minority, but lots of Kurds have flooded into here from all directions, even all the way from Iran. And they're all living now on Sunni land, or a lot of them have taken over Sunni land. And Erdogan's trying to fix that by taking more and more land. He wants to take all of this, but in fact he wants to take over all of this for Sunnis. I mean, if you make this deal, we open up all of Syria for everybody to go home to where they were living and to, you know, run out or to patriate the ones who come in and try and settle them there. I mean, but really they should all go home. You know, it's a total reversal of the entire, you know, displacement of people. And the only thing that will be different is the beast Bashar, you know, if he can quietly live in Latakia under the watch of the Russian military police, I suppose he could be allowed to live, but he'd be better off outside of the country where he doesn't have 20 million people wanting to kill him. Because out of the 23 million people in Syria, or however many there are, you know, like 20 million of them are Sunni Syrians who would like to kill him. So, you know, and we've got to end all that. We've got to end all that hatred. We've got to, you know, let the Alawites have their little bit of area and not be in control of all this. And the Russians need to support free and fair elections across Syria, and they need to elect a real president. I'm sure if you look at the wiki on, you know, and yeah, you know, it might be Muslim Brotherhood, because Sunnis do support Muslim Brotherhood, but one way or another, it's going to be a Sunni Arab, right? Yeah, the Kurds and the Turkomans and the Christians and everybody else are going to have some kind of tiny representation, but it's going to be Sunni, and it's going to be an Islamic republic like Pakistan or any other country that's vastly majority Sunni. You know, if you give a country time, even the United States, religion will go away as far as politics go. I mean, yeah, maybe some people will keep religion on their sleeve, or most people will just kind of evolve out of the more stupider aspects of religion. But for now, it's going to be a Sunni nation. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a Sunni government, right? All those Sunnis will be the majority of people in it. So, yeah, Russia, you know, you're the key to all this. You need to negotiate your bases and your influence in the country. And you need to make a deal to allow Conoco to do its thing. I mean, who cares, right? You've got just tons and tons of oil in Russia, and you've got the biggest country in the world by far. There's bound to be tons of oil and gas, which, let's face it, you're not going to get to sell it, because the vast majority of people in this world have decided they don't want to use oil. They want to use wind and solar and you know, hopefully geothermal and a lot of other types of energy. We're tired of polluting our air and our water so that a small group of people can make lots of money. So, you know, America's misadventure with the Kurds obviously has to end. I suggest that America make peace with the Sunni who exist in between here and Saudi Arabia, in Iraq and Jordan, you know. And eventually we'll make peace with Iran too. We all need to make peace. So come on, Russia, have a heart, you know. I mean, you just dropped the equivalent of an atomic bomb on Idlib. Can we stop that kind of? I know you want a place to test your equipment, but really, I mean, drop it on Siberia somewhere where there's nobody around. But you know, the sick people in the Russian military and the sick people in the American military who insist on having a real playground to test out their weaponry. Well, this has all got to end. I mean, it's so obviously evil, really, is what it is. So, come on, let's come together and, you know, we can use Syria as an example of how to bring peace to all these nations that are suffering from this kind of proxy war. So this is Martin Drummond with Progressive News. You know, and again, I say that of course you have to let Russia have their existing power in Syria, but with a democratically elected and supported, and we've got to support the shit out of whatever government comes out of Syria, so that it has the power to bring peace to Syria. But it's got to give Russians their bases and all the stuff they have now, and it's got to give the United States what it pretends it's after and what it really is after, and that's that oil. I know that's fucked up, but you know, you've got to make some sacrifices, and the United States is a dictatorship too. It's you know, it's a slave to these small group of people, the Bushes mainly, and the others who are with them, or who are really illegally forcing oil and gas down our throats. But you've got to find a way to pacify these people, because they're a force to be reckoned with. They're an evil force to be reckoned with. And we're going to have to deal with that until we can, you know, once we get off of oil and gas, then their power will go away. We will, I mean, isn't that weird? Isn't oil like a black goo coming up out of the earth? You know, it reminds me of hell, you know, all the mythology. You know, a black oil that lights on fire. Isn't that hell on earth? Isn't that hell coming up out of the ground? And that's what they represent. That's what's created all their power in the world. Their ability to addict people to their, you know, hell, black goo from hell has become the blood within the veins of people all over the world. And when we end that evil. So, you know, but at this point, you know, it requires a sacrifice on our point, on our side just to let them have their day and let them go away. Let us make this we will beat them, but in a kind of roundabout way.